We're excited to be here in person with options for those who choose not to be in person to participate virtually. There are several ways to participate. For those attending in person, complete a yellow request to speak slip and hand it to the city clerk. If participating remotely, use your raise the hand feature in Zoom and you will be called on at the appropriate time. If calling in via phone, press star 9 to raise your hand, and when called upon, press star 6 to unmute. These options for public comment will remain available until I close the public comment period for each specific item. We'll begin tonight's special meeting with one closed session item, conference with labor negotiators. Before we convene to closed session, City Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
Certainly. Mayor Newsom, before we take public comment, I'm going to take roll call. So we'll go with...
Thank you. Sorry.
Councilmember Diaz-Nash?
Yes, here.
Councilmember Svirko-Goditsky?
Here.
Councilmember Fernandez?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Lorraine?
Here.
And Mayor Newsom?
Here.
And for item number 1 on special meeting agenda, we have not received any requests to speak on this item.
All right. Well, with that said, we will convene to closed session in conference room C. Thank you, Martin. All right, we're now returning from closed session. Welcome back. We're going to talk about some old business, wet weather preparation, and Catherine, I'm told, is filling in for Director Matt Fabry. Welcome, Catherine.
Thank you. Yeah, filling in for Director Fabry today for our wet weather preparations informational update. So it's an informational update only, so any feedback or questions are welcome. I guess just a wet weather forecast for this week. So we do have rain forecasted this week. There's going to be some flood watch in effect till Wednesday. And so most of the rain is expected on Tuesday, about half an inch on Monday, and then maybe an inch and a half on Tuesday for San Mateo. So a good moment to remember to get, your emergency kits ready, get your, go do your grocery shopping ahead of time, et cetera, and call Public Works if you see any downed trees, call PG&E if you see down power lines, et cetera. So these are our immediate term actions. We started this update in August 2023, and so we continue the same numbering and lettering that we had in that. Most of these different actions have moved into either they've been completed or they're in more of an ongoing status. So for example, the inspection and cleaning of all of our trash capture devices, trash racks, and our pump station wet wells, that's ongoing. We also coordinate with OES regularly on planning and training. So Jim Yoke, who's with our Consolidated Fire, and I both attended a tabletop exercise that was regional recently last week. And it was focused actually on an exercise about wet weather and looking at community-based organizations and how we can collaborate and communicate better, with members of Red Cross, for example, and they also had government agency professionals. So that was very educational. So the item that we wanted to focus on in the next slide was just our Marina Lagoon alternatives analysis for pumping below 95 feet, which we talked about last time as well. So we presented the alternative analysis to our ad hoc lagoon committee for the Marina Lagoon. That was in November, and since then we've just been gathering some more feedback on the timing or preferred timing and frequency on the dock maintenance period. We've gotten a little feedback on the potential timing being, November preferred, so as not to impact some of the recreation that's happening earlier in the, in October. And then we're also going to gather feedback on the requested frequency. So, we previously did the dock maintenance annually, but we're opening up the dialogue of considering maybe every 3 years or other frequencies. So that'll be gathered from the lagoon community. So these are some immediate term actions. So we recently completed our final maintenance on our 5th engine. We also recently established a 4 sandbag station in North Central. So that was a collaboration with the school district and finding a site available that we could have, because I know North Central was a priority for the community. Previously, we didn't have a sandbag station in North Central. And then inspecting and cleaning all of our catch basins. So it's in our agenda report and on the slide it says 4,100 catch basins cleaned. We're about 4,300 and counting. So that's going up and up and up. And as you guys probably are aware, we start from the east side of the city, which is our most downstream portion of our storm drain, and then we move upstream. So this is just a slide from our engine maintenance. And there was just a minor oil leak basically for engine number 5. These are different sandbag locations now with the addition of the Turnbull preschool. So that sandbag station was put in place about early to mid-January, and we've already seen that out of the 1,000 sandbags, 350 have been used. So we are seeing that it's being used. Out of all of our sandbag stations, we've had to fill all of them up twice since the beginning of the wet season. Actually, Anchor Road is even more so. We've filled that one up 3 times so far, and about 8 cubic yards go into each time we refill. So it's all good. Catch basin cleaning, this is just a map of what catch basins have been cleaned in the city so far, and just some photos of our crews out in action. We use a Vector truck to suck out the debris or trash that may be present inside the drain to clear it out. Some of our short and midterm actions. So we have some dredging. So we're working on right now a spot dredging project. So it's going to be looking at just dredging in a couple locations at the 19th Avenue Channel and 16th Avenue Channel. We're consolidating our efforts there. We talked last time about not doing dredging on the south side of the lagoon just because it was not going to be as effective for us as, spending our removal money and our budget basically in the best place was the other two locations. So we have the sampling and analysis plan, which was submitted to the DMMO, which is joint powers across different regulatory agencies. So it kind of is in their court right now. They would review the sediment and analysis plan, give their comments and approval, and then we would do the sediment sampling and then go back and get their approval again. But we do hope, if everything goes per schedule, we do hope to start that work this summer, contingent on their approval. So we're also working on various, localized small-scale drainage improvements. We use our stormwater fee to support those. As you know, there's a lot of areas where we have localized ponding in the city, and so I'm just trying to, continue to make progress on those. Sometimes concurrent with our paving projects, but sometimes as their own standalone projects. We are also working on camera monitoring. So I have another slide later on that. Actually, I should go for it because I had a good slide for the spot dredging. So this is just what I mentioned previously about the DMMO. It was already submitted to their review, but we're going to review it with them pretty soon here, actually, this week, 2/5, which is Wednesday. This is the camera monitoring locations that we have in place. There are 9 total locations. So these are locations where we'll have a camera installed. They've all been installed by city staff, so they needed power, so we put them up on streetlights where we could tie into available power. And 6 locations have already been installed, and then we have the other 3 cameras, and we're just waiting on the installs. So you can see at these different little pins, we have, in some cases, we needed multiple cameras, and that's just to show multiple views of those locations to see, infrastructure. So, for example, Marina Lagoon Pump Station, looking at the trash racks, looking at the lagoon, et cetera. And for now, those are just city staff viewable. We are collaborating, but you can basically sign up for this program. We give you some supplies, and then you would just make a personal commitment to cleaning your drains. And we'd send out, email reminders sometimes, hey, there's some forecasted rain, it's a good time to clean the drains. So we're working on an update right now because we noticed that, some drains experience a really high degree of leaf litter or leaf debris, where, trees will basically drop their leaves and then it clogs all the top of those drains. So we're thinking about ways to maybe make this program a little more effective by identifying those drains that are gonna have a higher likelihood of leaf debris, either based on, our mapping that we have available for street trees or based on field maintenance feedback. So that's something that you won't see on the website yet, but you will see eventually, which is, there will be available to adopt, heavier leaf litter or greater need or something for those drains. And they're in various neighborhoods, but it's usually in the neighborhoods where we do have a lot of mature trees. So North Central is a big one, for example. But yeah, we're happy to have any support from our residents on this. There's also a feasibility study. So last year we got authorization to study the feasibility of a flood risk reduction project. And actually the Army Corps of Engineers just reached out and said, hey, we want you to prepare a letter of intent and a fact sheet, and we want to help you move this forward. So we got it on 1/23, and it was due like the following Monday or Tuesday. So we rushed and got that together, and we're continuing to stay in contact with them. And we're hoping that submission can move forward. So yeah, we can keep you guys appraised of the progress of that. And that would mean some federal earmark funding for a feasibility study. And then that's it. Any questions?
Any questions?
Before,
Oh, let's go to public comment. Oh, we got a public comment? Yeah, we got some public here. 3 minutes.
I'll talk real slow. Rick Boney, I'll fill out a sheet after. I heard you mention something about corrugated metal pipes being kind of a maintenance item, which tells me that if we get failures with them and we're replacing them with something else, do you know what that replacement pipe is?
Yeah, so.
We're not,
Oh, no.
he's
Oh,
public
sorry.
commenting straight to the council right now, so we're not answering directly
Got it,
right now.
sorry.
Okay, so I'm asking, okay, because there's concrete, there's plastic, there are other alternatives. Plastic, I don't know if we want that going into the bay because everything that tore up and wrecked the metal pipes is going to tear the plastic pipes up too. Okay, so we need to have alternatives that don't pollute the bay with more plastic. Thanks.
All right, I'll open up to questions. Left or right, or go ahead.
Oh, me, okay.
We'll go left or right.
Thank you. First off, thank you to you and the entire team. This represents so much progress for those of us who were here, either on or off the dais when the floods happened. Between then and now, absolutely stellar effort, and also with the community. And everyone should be absolutely congratulated about that. Couple of comments or questions. Can you remind me who is doing the master plan?
Schaffenweiler is doing the master plan.
Schaffenweiler, thank you very much. And then when you were talking about the sandbags and the fact that we were able to get the school to do one of them at Turnbull, what was the reason that other places we asked refused us?
Oh, I think Director Faber is doing most of the coordination for the sandbag location, so I'm not sure, but I know that it did take some time to get an agreement set up with the school, and we have it for a couple months just because they have to have construction occur and they need that.
Yeah, no, I was talking about other places that we asked prior. Anyhow, that would be good information.
Okay, yeah.
Because certainly this was great that Turnbull did that, but it would be great to have a 24/7 or a 7-day-a-week site for North Central as well.
I'm happy to jump in on that question.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
So what took place is that we did go to different government agencies within the North Central neighborhood, and they did not provide us locations to be able to have a sandbag station. Mayor Newsom and I actually talked to the school district in our 2x2 meeting. I believe it was in December. And simply a week later, we received access at the location that we have today. But it's short term because I believe there's a bigger construction project in the future. We'll continue. I believe we reached out to another school in the area, the DMV, the Armory. We've everything that you would know of government facilities within that neighborhood. We were rejected previously, and so we'll continue our efforts in the future to get some traction in the area for a permanent sandbag station in the winter times. And I see our District Council Member Fernandez saying, nodding her head, yes.
Yeah, because certainly there isn't an issue with getting people out at a certain time. I don't know whether we can do this. Mayor, the council member would like to make a comment on this.
Yeah, I would just wonder in the long term if we can think about a program where maybe we have volunteers create sandbags that could be dropped off or deployed in an emergency event, especially for seniors, like similar to Adopt a Drain. I do understand that's a heavy lift, but to not have anything
Literally.
in North Central. Yeah, but to not have anything in North Central and then potentially have a large scale rain event again, we don't want people driving on the roads.
Great. Did you want to say something? No?
Just that we can look at, actually, you can buy sandbags that are already pre-filled too, something that we can look at. It just costs a lot more than us filling them themselves, but might be able to have a small cache to help seniors in need too. That's a note that we can take back.
As the council member who represents that area, should we talk offline about that? Because I do have some ideas.
Sounds great.
Cool. And I also just very briefly want thank you to staff for putting the plan together. It looks amazing, and or for providing the update. And I hope that Director Fabry feels better soon. But I just wanted to. I loved you mentioning that we had parts of the city that were removed from the flood district, and the architect of that was Rich Hedges. So I just want to give him a shout out because that North Shoreview would not have been removed from and some of North Central without his leadership and efforts.
Here, here. Here, here, thank you. In terms of, let's see, the pace, it says that you've done 4,100 out of 6,000 catch basins, which is incredible, and you're now focusing on the western hill portions of the city. Is that kind of pace the pace we should expect every year?
I think so, yeah. Now that we have our new field maintenance crews, that I think even it may be faster next year because we'll also have our new supervisors next year for the wet season. But part of the strategy of starting at the east side and moving up is that we're. Am I still sharing? No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. But it's not like active. Here we go. Sorry. Okay, so here's the.
Yeah, this is the one. So currently, the 3 yellow dots haven't been installed yet.
Right.
And 6 cameras have been installed in the 3 red dots, which means we have 2 in each of those locations. Do we think we're going to need 2 in each of the yellow dots? Meaning, do we need to give you the okay to get more cameras, or is that in the works?
So we have actually not the same number of cameras at all the locations. They're in parentheses. Poplar has 1, Marina Lagoon has 3,
sorry.
and then 42nd and El Camino has 2. And then the other ones, so we're looking at capturing specific views. I mean, I think we have heard feedback at the Lagoon South End that, maybe a couple different views might be beneficial there, but I think we only had the 9 cameras. So I guess we could come back and, if we thought that more cameras were necessary as we rolled it
Guess
out.
my comment would be, if you need more cameras, please come back to us and let us know.
Okay.
'Cause we're all behind this, and we want to make sure it's successful.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I was curious to know, and you don't have to tell me this now, but if we could get the information to the council as to the number of drains that are currently adopted, maybe what we could do is work with the San Mateo United homeowners, and also since we each have a district, we could each work with our districts and our homeowners groups to see if we can help get the ones that are not adopted, adopted. So I'd love to have that as just something we can do, and it wouldn't be very difficult. So, I mean, other than getting the data is the important thing. Thank you. Former mayor and council member asked, do you know what the materials are that we're using for the drainage pipes that we're replacing, or could we find that out at a future date?
Yeah, so in the storm drain master plan, at least, we're not yet at the point where we're actually selecting, we're still doing the condition assessment to see what kind of condition they're in, and then we'll recommend, modifications. But I will say with the corrugated metal pipe, it's not always a replacement. Sometimes the bottom of the pipe gets corroded, and so it kind of breaks out. So you can do cheaper alternatives, like a lining option or concrete, that could be sometimes more cost-effective than a pipe replacement. But, the city would follow its standard details with regards to if it was a pipe replacement.
Okay, so it depends on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, evaluating less expensive alternatives first, and then.
But if you are doing a replacement, is there a standard, or do you know what the standard is that you would use?
I'm sure we have a standard for what
Yeah,
pipe we use.
you can
I don't
come
know
back
it
to us.
offhand, but I will say plastic is usually a cost-effective
Yeah, and I
option.
think the
Yeah.
public comment was that plastic could have some downsides, so I'd love to wade through that and find out.
I think through the mayor, typically, storm drain pipes, are often going to be, PVC or HDPE pipe. I think the challenge with the corrugated metal pipe is that they tend to rust out. And so I don't know that the issue that causes the problem with the corrugated metal pipes is going to happen with the plastic pipes. So I think the comment previously about the same issues happening, I don't think is what is experienced with using those newer types of pipe materials.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Last 2 comments. I heard Councilwoman Circle-Kaditsky, oh my gosh, I can't talk today. I heard Danielle say that maybe we could have some pre-filled sandbags. I've been working a lot with the local Scout Skyline chapter, and I've also talked to some of the high school principals, and they all have service projects. So if we could coordinate a few dates and times that we needed sandbags filled, I'm confident we could get half a dozen or a dozen students and scouts to come out and pre-fill, and maybe even bring them to, or work in conjunction with Public Works to bring them to people's houses for the seniors. So just feedback, but, and then the last thing would be, I too was talking to Jim Yoke recently, and one of the things that we talked about, and I don't know why we talk about things in the past, but when we looked back on the December 31st flooding, CERT was never activated. And so one of the thoughts that we've had and kind of bounced back and forth is having some indicator as to when we may need CERT in those types of emergencies, so that, we use the resources that we have. So that was my last piece of feedback and questions. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else have anything else? Okay. So, do you have everything you need from us?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And I guess we're closed. We'll close the session and reconvene in 40 minutes. Thanks.